So I am in good, in a good, what do you call it?
You fall into bad company.
I fall into bad company. I don't mind. I wish I could get worse. Yes.
So that's the real homecoming.
Yes, that's right.
It looks like, from that batch, all of them are turning into authors,
Thank you so much once again, people, and I can only tell you that I would like you to please pick up a copy, read the book, and please take a few minutes off to let me know how you like the book, because please remember I'm on the learning curve and your feedback is surely going to make a huge contribution to this journey of mine. So please take the time to give me feedback. Good, bad, I'm open to anything. I'm learning, please remember. Thank you so much. If you have any questions for the author, just ask her.
This character, it is a more character. I don't want to assume that are they based on real life experience?
Harry wanted to know if the 4 characters in my book are based on real life experiences. They are life. They are life, they are aspects and dimensions of all of us. So my protagonist, Anjali, could be you, could be me, it could be anybody. Although it's a woman in that form, but I think even men could relate with this character, because it's all about mind games. The book is all about mind games. The characters are all products of mind games. And so I think all of us play mind games sometime or the other. Sometimes constantly we are playing mind games, so much so that we are cut off from the real ourselves. So this book is a revelation in that aspect.
One way to another. Yeah, you haven't.
So just a curiosity, were you, as Harry mentioned, were you a sort of Raymond Chandler fan of all this genre which has been, mystery and suspense, detective work?
Surprisingly, no. I never used to like those murder mysteries, I used to feel that, no, it's too dark. I never liked dark pictures, or dark movies also. I'm not a fan of dark movies. But somewhere along this, when I started this journey, since it was dealing with mind games, it's a very different kind of thing. I mean, I cannot really say more than this, because then it's like giving away. There is a huge twist in this book. So I cannot really reveal a lot. But I tell you that it's not gory. It's not those kind of murder mysteries. There's murder, but I don't think I've mentioned a dead body yet. That's any other questions, please? Yes.
How did you decide on the title Incognito?
Okay, that's a very interesting journey. I had a couple of options in my mind, and my family is my first critic, my husband and my son. I have a 17-year-old son. They both read the first, draft, and by then I had already decided to call it Incognito, and I put it through them, and they were all for it. Then a few other readers who were introduced to the plot, they felt that Incognito may not be understood by everybody. So I said fine, so I gave my editor, I had a very, very seasoned editor to edit my book, a very senior editor at Times of India. So when I gave him a couple of other options, he dashed on every other option and he said, no, Incognito is the name that stays, because when you read the book, you will know why I think he pressed for that. And I'm glad that we decided to stick with the name, because the name is very intriguing. And because of the name and the cover, the beautiful cover that's been designed, it's a very intriguing cover too. If you take a look at it, it's got a face, and it's got shadows on the face. So it goes very well with that, and I'm glad that they stuck with that decision.
What was the trigger for the book? Like, after so many years, what triggered you to write a novel?
I think it was desperation. To be very frank, because I've always wanted to write, but I was tied up with my other profession, which is another profession that I love. It is behavioral training, where I get to meet people, and since I've specialized in emotional intelligence and NLP, I do a lot of work in that area. And I kept meeting these people, and as I told you, all these experiences I was storing in my mind. But then I was getting desperate, and I just wanted to put it all down. I used to document all my workshops. That's one thing that was a habit with me. I used to document all my workshops, not just what my participants went through, but what I was feeling when they were narrating there. It was more like actually my own emotions and my own thoughts. And then one fine day I just announced, I remember I took my husband off his meeting schedules, I took him to CCD and I said, I've got something to say. And when a woman tells a man, especially a husband, I have something to say, it's usually trouble brewing. Okay, so I can still remember his expression, he said, now what? So I said, no, this time it's good, it's not trouble, but there is something definitely brewing in my mind and I want to put it down. And he encouraged me. So he filled in for all my workshops during those 8 months, and 8 months saying no to clients is a huge risk you take in the corporate world. But he really did overtime, he filled in for me, and many of my clients were very accommodating, and they said, no, we're willing to push dates, but you do this. And that's how, I had support from everybody. That's how it's possible. It's not my success alone, I must say that.
Lata, these days, so these days you see a spurt of Indian writers, Indian writers who are young, who seem to be pretty contemporary, who seem to have a real racy writing style. These days I've become whenever I come to Crossword or Landmark, I just look for Indian authors, because it's so good to see Indian situations, Indian ecosystem, and then it's so easy to relate with them. So my question to you is, were you inspired by any one of these authors, or what is your take on contemporary English writing by Indian authors?
To answer the first question, I was not actually inspired by any one particular author, but I've always been a reader. I can devour books, I can live on books, and I've been reading different genres. I have no particular favorites or anything like that. But today, when I walk into a bookstore, I'm more aware of Indian authors now. And I also feel, since I've been in the publishing industry, in the last 1.5 years, I've met a lot of publishers, I'm understanding the industry. I really feel that today there are a lot of Indian authors, and there is enough encouragement for all Indian authors, and there's enough space on the shelves for all of us. And one thing I learned is that, as I was telling Lady before we started, my publisher always tells me, writing is the easiest thing. The work starts after that. And I can feel it. I'm feeling it. I'm on a multi-city tour now, and you've got to go around pushing the book, talking about the book, because it's not just the book. It's part of you always in the book. And I think you've got to be the face behind your book. You've got to be there. So I'm on a huge learning curve now, and I'm enjoying every moment. It's tiring, but it's good. And the only thing that's bothering me is because it's keeping me from my subsequently I'm working on 2 more writing projects, and it's just keeping me a little from there. But whenever I find the time in the night or something, then I go back to writing those. My second book, which I hope to get published in December, is a compilation of short stories of women whom I've actually met in my workshops, with a lot of permissions from them, and they are true survivors, and they've not made it big in terms of the corporate kind of success. They are ordinary women like you and me, but the way they've really overcome their emotional upheavals, and they've come, that's the kind of story that I'm working on now. It's a compilation.
This is not a question. This is just a remembrance of few years earlier.
Yes.
I used to read your reports. You used to get a free copy of your Maharashtra Road.
Yes.
So I used to read your reports. And that time I used to always tell Sushma, she's a wonderful writer.
Wow.
One day she will do well.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
am witness for all those
Yes.
days.
Thank you so much, Viren. Thanks a lot for your faith in me. Thank you so much.
This is once again just a remembrance. We were classmates, and from day one to our field visits, you had it in you, Lata. You always did.
Thank you so much. I remember all those evenings and those mornings in the hostel, and oh my.
That was the best batch to emerge out of that incident.
3 cheers to all of us, and just for all our adventures.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Really, but I
You could,
Yes, absolutely.
I still remember those comments.
But really, those were the real learning years.
Correct. That's the kind it's all superficial.
Absolutely.
I have a pen with me. I don't use it, because it's not a pen to be used. It's a pen to just be kept, because it's a pen given to me by our friends.
Yeah. So particularly for the students, I still remember Lata and I would take, we used to have those teleprinters, and we would get copies from there. We would edit, take it to Joe Pinto, who used to sit there in front, and we remember his bottle, his lunch box, and we used to take it to him with a lot of, pride and thinking that we've really achieved something. The first thing Joe would do is strike out our heading, and then take us back to the basics and say, have you learned grammar? Don't come here thinking that you people have passed journalism. This is just not it. Your basics has to be strong. And we would come back to our desk with teary eyes. But I think that was really the foundation. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Lily. Really, these were our mentors. And that was the foundation. Those tough days made us really tough. That was when I had made a resolute that I'm going to show them one day. That we too can be successful, but really, I value it now.
Rohan, come.
Oh, Rohan is here.
Come, Rohan, come.
No problem.
This is also in a way a reunion of very small scale. This is a reunion of the old Maharashtra, where all of us, the foundations were laid. Today, tomorrow, or day after, you will hear something from each one of us in our own ways. Thank you so much for coming, all of you. Thank you so much.
I just want to say sorry for keeping you a little more. There was people, you had Lata and others saying how much they learned from Joe. Joe, as you must have guessed, for even those who don't know you, he's a man you don't want to study under. You're going to have to do it 10 times. So I remember a kissa, another friend of ours called Roger. Roger is a man with long grey hair, and he's a lovely musician. Now when he joined the Maharashtra Herald, he was a musician, which he continues to be. So I remember a time when Roger was learning, he was on the editorial desk and Joe was his senior, and he had done editing some copy. And remember, Roger was a jazz player. So Joe came up to him, took this copy and says, Roger, there are rules about journalism. This is not jazz. The thing I would like to say is that after what she has done, no matter what she has named the book, Lata is no longer incognito. Part of the reason being ensuring stick arrangement. I think that's the main biggest.
Yeah, sure.
There was something we didn't know.
Okay, how did that happen?
No, I didn't ask the people to rate things. How do you do?
It's T without an H, right?
No, not the H. Thank you so much. And it was wonderful coming here. Now we go down to the stores and what do we do?
Yeah, I guess we say somebody